Imagine if you could achieve your biggest business goals in half the time without having to hire more people or work countless hours. In this video, I'm going to show you how AI can help you work smarter, not harder, and turn your business goals into reality faster than ever. I'm going to give you the steps you need to take to reach any goal, along with the AI prompts that will set you up for success. My process will break it down into small, manageable steps for you so you can get started right away. But before we begin, in the comments below, let me know what your #1 goal is for the next year. Now let's jump into step number 1. All right, the first thing we want to start with is to do an assessment of our current situation. And what this means is I want you to reflect on your sort of current position with your business. So before we set new objectives, we really want to get a good understanding of where we're at. So think about, is it revenue that you're looking to grow? What is it currently? If you want to create more awareness, you're going to have to use social media. How big are your accounts? How many followers do you have? How many subscribers do you have to your email list? You do want to actually document these things as your first thing, because chances are you want to grow and you're going to be doing marketing and you want to see the growth. So you need to start with a foundation of essentially data, of a timestamp of where you're at right now. And the #1 thing at this point is to identify what your goal is. So if I use myself as an example right now, this also relates to the phase that your business is in. You could be a startup or you could be established business. In general, if you want to grow, you need to create awareness, which is what marketing is. And so if we use my agency as an example, it's an established agency, but the reason why I've started a YouTube channel is because I've literally thought to myself, and I'm sure there are some of you out there that have thought this also, if just more people knew about what I do, I could have more clients. That is awareness. And so that's why I am doing this. And I'm not a startup, I'm an established business, but you have to understand what your #1 goal is. And of course, there can be other milestones with that, but you really need to narrow it down to one thing. What is it that you want? Do you want more clients? Do you want more revenue? Do you want more free time? This is where you've got to get hyper specific on what it is ultimately that you want to accomplish. To do this, you want to create a SWOT analysis, and the SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So what's working well? What needs improvement? Where are there new opportunities for growth with your business or your brand? And then what are the threats? What is your competition doing? Or are there other market trends? Are there trends in the economy? Or globally, are there trends going on? These are all things to factor in. And it's always a great idea to identify what has worked in the past, because there's a good chance it could work again. So that's key to document. And now it could be some time for some humble pie. Finally, do you need to learn more skills? Are there new opportunities that will require you to learn more things? This is a time to take a hard look at yourself, because oftentimes you need to get uncomfortable and get outside your comfort zone and learn something new in order to grow. And this could be that moment. Here's a prompt that I have for you to help you with step 1. You can use ChatGPT or any other AI engine, but the prompt is, I am an entrepreneur, content creator looking to assess my current situation. Here's what I've done so far. List out all the activities that we've just done in the previous slide. Can you help me create a concise SWOT analysis to identify what I'm doing well and where I could improve? Now, this is like hiring an experienced marketing agency on your behalf, but you get to do, you're allowing AI to do all the heavy lifting and bring in expertise. This is a great thing. This on your own might be very overwhelming to do, but with AI, it's very easy. The next step is to clarify our vision and mission. And this is essentially the foundation for growth. So we want to define our long-term aspiration and the purpose that's driving it. So the first key point here is vision. What's the big picture? What's your why? What do you aspire to create or achieve? An example of that would be to empower entrepreneurs to achieve sustainable growth using innovative strategies. The second part is your mission, your actionable how. The steps or methods to realize your vision. An example would be providing AI-driven tools and strategies to help entrepreneurs grow their business efficiently. These are examples that I would be using for my audience. Third is creating a unique value proposition. Your standout factor. What makes your approach different or more valuable for your target audience? So an example for my channel would be simplifying complex marketing strategies with actionable AI insights. Now, here's how to make it easier for you. Here's a prompt that you can use. Here's my initial idea for my brand's vision and mission. Insert your ideas here. Please refine them into a clear, concise statement that highlights my unique value proposition for my target audience. And what is really going to help you out here is we're already starting to identify our target audience. Step 3, we're going to define SMART growth goals. And the whole point of this is to turn your vision into actionable steps. And we're going to basically have specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goals. This is what will help you stay on track and achieve your goal. The first part of this is to align the goals with vision and a mission. So you ensure that every goal supports your overarching purpose. So everything is in alignment. That's very important. And we're going to use real numbers. So an example would be increase subscribers by 20% or achieve $10,000 monthly revenue or launch 2 new products. And the most important part here is to set deadlines. Deadlines create urgency and accountability. And so an example of that would be to achieve your goal by a specific date. Pretty straightforward. Here's a prompt to help you with this process. Based on my vision and mission, can you help me craft 3 to 5 SMART goals for my business content channel? These goals should include specific numbers, deadlines, and align with my overall growth strategy. Now, another tip for you is you should be doing this all in one consistent feed with your AI platform so that it will continue to build upon everything from step 1 all the way to the end here. Step 4 now is we're going to break down short and long-term goals. And the main thing here, the reason we do this is to stay motivated. So if we have a really big goal, we want to break that down into small, manageable pieces that we can get quick wins and have success along the way so it doesn't seem so overwhelming. Now, depending on your situation, you may not need the short-term goals because your long-term goal may be broken up into what could be technically short-term goals, but I put this in here just for your reference for you to play around with. So first, you start with the short-term goals. Think of these as things you want to accomplish in the next 1 to 3 months. You want to get some quick wins, build some momentum. So an example would be increase website traffic by 10%, test a new product or service, or launch a mini marketing campaign. Long-term goals, these are going to be something that are 6 to 12 months out, maybe multiple years out. Focus on scaling and expansion. An example of this would be broaden your market reach, double your audience size, or launch a signature product line. These are things that take time, so it would make sense that these would be long-term goals. And if you're not sure if your goal should be a short or long-term goal, you can always ask AI. Give it some context of what you're trying to achieve and some market information. And then you can research to see what is actually attainable and what makes most sense. There's no reason to guess. You can leverage the power of AI in your favor. The third part here is to create a timeline. We want to use milestones to track the progress. So an example would be map out steps leading to your long-term goals with actionable deadlines. Here's a prompt to help you out with this step. Here are my short and long-term goals, and you list them here. Could you help me break these down into short-term milestones that will keep me on track and motivated? I'd also like a tentative timeline for each milestone. Now, this is really great. This will break it down for you and give you the time frames. And every time I've done this, when I've had a big goal, I get a huge sense of relief after doing this step. I'm like, wow, this is not as hard as I was thinking it was going to be. So it really kind of breaks it down for you. And it's my favorite step in this entire process. Step 5 is you have to conduct an audience or market analysis, because at the end of the day, you have to give the market what it wants. So you can sit there and you can analyze and you can plan all this stuff about all your own personal goals. But if there isn't a need or a desire for it, it doesn't matter how big or small your goal is, it's not going to matter. So in this step, it's important to understand who you serve and what they need. The good part is when you do this step, you should be able to identify opportunities for content or products or services that will ultimately help you grow. The first key point to step 5 is to identify key attributes. And we're talking about demographics, pain points, behaviors, motivations. If you have not figured out or detailed out your ideal customer avatar, click the link in the description to my school community. This is a group, it's a free group for entrepreneurs and content creators who want to grow using marketing and AI tools. And in this group, I've provided detailed prompts to build out your ideal customer avatar. All you have to do is plug in your product or service, and I give you about 12 prompts that generate several pages of data of your ideal customer. This information is marketing gold because it basically gets you inside the head of your target audience, which makes marketing so much easier. So click the link below to check that out. Now, the second point to step 5 is to research your competitors. So you want to try and get an idea of what they're doing, what's working, what's not. So an example of that would be, analyze their content strategies. Are they on social media? Are things getting a lot of engagement? That might be something to look at. Are they offering anything? Are they running sales or promotions? And how are they engaging their audiences? And finally, this process should help you spot gaps or unmet needs. And that's where the real opportunity is. Look for areas your audience feels underserved. An example would be a unique approach, tailored solutions, or a fresh perspective. Again, try and identify a need or a problem that you can solve. Here's a prompt you can use. I want to deepen my understanding of my target audience. They are, and describe your audience. Can you help me outline their typical challenges, desires, and motivations? Also, please suggest ways to differentiate my brand based on this analysis. Now, if you come to my community and build out your avatar, it will only make this process 10 times stronger because you will be giving it a lot more detail. So keep that in mind. All right, now it's time to start on your growth plan. And the purpose of this is to build essentially a roadmap to achieve your goal. This could include marketing strategies, product launches, and collaborations. The first key point here is marketing channels. So where are you going to be marketing? What makes most sense for your audience? Where are they hanging out so that you can reach them? An example might be social media, email campaigns, collaborations, or paid ads. Now, your content strategy is what type of content do you need based on the platforms you're going to be using. So an example would be weekly blog posts, daily social media updates, monthly podcast, email newsletters. These are all options. And what you should keep in mind is it shouldn't necessarily be what you're good at or what you're familiar with. You need to see what the results are based on your research to see what benefits or what will reach your audience best, not what you want to do. And third, we want to allocate resources. So that could mean money. You need to have a budget. You might need some additional tools or team members. So an example could be you might need to hire some content creators, some social media managers, or there's some new analytical tools that you need to purchase and put into place so that you can track all your efforts. Here's a prompt to use for this step. I need a detailed growth plan to achieve a specific SMART goal. Please suggest marketing channels, content ideas, and frequency. Also include any tools or team roles I might need to allocate for each strategy. Now, of course, if you need additional help It doesn't mean you have to employ people. You can find independent contractors for this type of work. The nice thing about it is you will be able to define their role for them very easily, which will save you time and money and bring them on much quicker and make it a much more efficient process. Step 7 is implement consistent habits and routines. And with all the companies that I've worked with and all the business owners, there's one thing that is always true, and whatever you give attention will grow. And so if you put attention towards sales and marketing, you will grow those things. Businesses slow down generally because they've failed to keep attention or give attention to marketing and sales. And so that's one thing to keep in mind here, is that you really have to make a conscious effort towards this, and you need to be consistent. And even when it's tough and you're not getting much of a return or any response, you have to stick with it. You have to stay consistent, because consistency builds recognizable brands and fosters audience trust. So you need to develop routines that sustain regular output and engagement. The first step to this is to create a schedule, a manageable schedule. This is what will ease your mind in this process, because it allows you to break it down into smaller pieces. So you might enjoy batch content creation, which for social media, I highly recommend that. That's what we do. We typically will focus on one account at a time and knock out whatever it is that the contract is for. So if we're doing monthly social media posts, we'll crank those out and spend 1 or 2 days just on that account, cranking out all that. So everything is consistent. When you have to, take breaks or come back and forth, you miss things. It's much more efficient to focus on one thing and do it very well and get it over with. Another example could be record videos on Mondays, write blogs on Wednesdays. Put a schedule to it. Dedicated time blocks. Schedule daily and weekly slots for activities. An example could be marketing on Tuesdays, review analytics on Fridays. And you need to be accountable. You need to put systems in place to help you with this. So use tools or groups to stay on track. So an example could be join a mastermind group. People that already have experience in this is incredibly helpful. Or use productivity trackers like Asana or Trello. We use Trello for storyboard purposes. So if we have a lot of content we need to keep track of or to tell a story over a long period of time, Trello is great at that. And here's a prompt to help you with this process. Can you suggest a weekly routine for me as an entrepreneur content creator aiming to produce consistent content and engage regularly with my audience? Include daily tasks, time blocks, and any recommended productivity tools. Now, if you want to take this to the next level, you should create your normal schedule and submit it with this. So, and include, if you work out or if you have to go pick up your kids at school, block in those times, and AI can absolutely schedule everything out for you in a very clean, efficient manner, especially if you include deadlines. It will backdate things and allow you time to accomplish your tasks in a very manageable way. It's a huge, huge asset of AI. Step 8 is track and measure your progress. This is so important because you have to know how good or bad you're doing. And so you have to monitor your success, and that will allow you to make any kind of changes or refine your strategies because you're actually tracking the metrics. You do that by identifying relevant KPIs. These are key performance indicators. So it's just a fancy way of saying data. So, what are the things you're tracking? So an example could be, have your subscribers grown, revenue grown, subscribers to your email or your email open rates, website traffic, is that increasing or decreasing? Now, you want to leverage analytical tools, and most platforms obviously provide data, some better than others, but you need to get familiar with it so that you understand and make sure that these efforts, you're going to reach the goals that you're trying to attain. And so some examples could be YouTube Studio if you have a YouTube channel. Google Analytics is great, especially for tracking web traffic and understanding maybe what's going on with your ad campaigns. Google Analytics is a really fantastic piece of software platform, essentially, to track metrics like this for marketing. And then, like I said before, your social media platforms all have dashboards for you to monitor. So if you're not an expert in those, take some time to learn them, because that's what's going to give you a pulse on how effective your goals and your essentially your action plan has been up to date. The third key here is just to regularly review things. So I would schedule this in. I do this with my own schedules. I have specific days where I block out time to review accounts, and it makes it much easier. You don't have this hanging over your head or the anxiety. You just know, like, this is my time to do this. You knock it out and move on. If you like AI to help you with this, here's a prompt. These are my main KPIs, list them here. Please design a simple tracking system, a spreadsheet, or a list of tools that I can use weekly or monthly to measure and evaluate my progress. I'd also love tips on interpreting the data. Now, what's great about this is to get the tips, because it can reference best practices based off of marketing data. So that's a huge tool. Step 9, reflect, pivot, and improve. It's important to take the information from step 8 and really study it and understand, okay, do I need to make a change here, or should I just stay the course and see if things improve on their own? First, I think you should start with some wins. Okay, focus on the positive, acknowledge the successes, and identify what really led them to be successful. An example would be pinpoint effective strategies or campaigns. And then you want to look at what's not working. So what needs improvement? An example could be adjust low performing content or refine your targeting. Here's a little tip for you. If something isn't performing well, more than likely it's the messaging. And so you need to go back to your audience and make sure that your messaging is relatable or is the same temperature that they are. So if they're really desperate for something, does your messaging resonate with them? Third key is to stay flexible. You have to be open to new opportunities, and you have to be mindful of the shifts in your niche. These are dynamic things. And so really, this is a journey. And so you have to always be looking for opportunities. And part of that is to be open to having to change course or to try. Maybe you A/B test an idea or a theory. You have to stay open to try things. When it comes to growth, there is some trial and error involved, and keep that in mind, that it's okay if something doesn't work. The good thing is that you've learned that it won't work and you won't repeat that again. A prompt you can use for this step is, I've been tracking my progress for list the time period. Here are the results. Summarize your outcomes. What does this data suggest about where I should pivot or improve my strategy? Please provide action steps for the next quarter, or whatever your time frame is. What I like about this is it's using marketing data to not only analyze what you've done, but also make suggestions, which maybe you've identified earlier on in your plan and now it's time to test that out, or it's something entirely new that you should try. Now, step 10 is celebrate achievements. And I'll be honest, this is something kind of difficult for me, but this is why you do it. And you should be proud of yourself for accomplishing these things. So you want to acknowledge and reward the achievement. And especially if you're working with a team, you want to be the cheerleader, because it will boost morale. And more than likely, this is going to be a longer journey. And so you want to keep and build on momentum. And this is how you can do it. The first way you can share success is publicly. So you can inspire your audience, or it will actually help build credibility. And I have experienced this in some other groups in school where I've shared some of my small milestones that, seem pretty insignificant compared to other people and the success that they're having. But honestly, those are the posts that have gotten the most traction and have actually spread the most organically and gotten the most engagement, which is exactly what being on a social platform is all about. So this does work. It absolutely works. I know it does. Secondly, reward yourself or your team. Recognize contributions with treats or outings or personal rewards or cash. Everybody likes cash. An example could be you host a team dinner, take the day off, buy everybody lunch or drinks, after work. You want to have fun at this because it's all great for moving forward and building momentum. Thirdly, reinforce positive behaviors, and you want to highlight the actions that drove success and encourage repetition. So an example of this would be document and share processes that led to milestones. And I mean, not to veer too much here, but this is kind of how my wife and I have thought about raising our kids, is when they've done something well, we've kind of made a bigger deal about that. Of course, we've corrected them when they didn't do something well, but we kind of wanted them to get addicted to getting praise for doing good things. And so far, I mean, it's worked out. So do the same thing with your team. I've had a very positive experience with this approach. Here's a prompt you can use. I've achieved, describe your accomplishment. Can you suggest creative ways to celebrate this milestone, both personally and with my audience, while staying aligned with my brand voice and messaging? You might want to add, and not sound like a conceited jerk, but actually, if you do it this way, this will work really well because it will tie it in to your brand voice and your messaging, and that's really key here. And so you'll sound authentic without kind of, beating your chest and sounding obnoxious. And this completes all the steps you need to achieve your biggest business goals. I've shown you how to leverage AI to work smarter, not harder, so you avoid burnout and you can achieve your goals faster. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.